What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Hi, I'm Tom podcast. Hi, I'm Tom. I'm Tom Greer. If you watch my other videos, it's been like I said, I'll do this intro for the last time probably on these videos. I'm a avid podcaster. I've been podcasting for the last 8 years with the Grindhouse Radio. We do a pop culture show every week, every Thursday. So go check that out on thegrindhouseradio.com and anywhere you can listen to podcasts. But this is kind of an impromptu podcast because I'm just so unbelievably excited that I'm sitting here. It's I think we just finished up week 6 of the NFL season, and the Giants are going to be playing meaningful football games well into October and into November. This is insane. So if you weren't watching, if you didn't watch any football today, I don't know what you're doing here, but if you're here, very much appreciated. If you watch, like I said, if you watch my other videos, very much appreciated. But the New York Giants, who had all of 4 wins last year, are 5-1. Just beat former MVP Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens, 24-20. Could have been more, but Saquon decided to take a knee on like the 1 yard line so they could run the clock out. But could have been more. 24-20. The New York Giants, who let's be honest with ourselves. We thought that this was going to be a rebuilding, learning year where you hope to see some pieces on the team take steps. Maybe they wind up trading Saquon Barkley for some picks or something like that, and then, we expected to see Daniel Jones be Daniel Jones. You know what I mean? Like the mediocre quarterback who turns the ball over too much, can't stay healthy. That's what we expected. That's the writing that was on the wall. We heard it all off season, how Shane and Daboll were trying to hammer the point home that it was a work in progress, that they weren't given a lot when they inherited the team from Dave Gettleman, and it was gonna take a little bit to undo the damage that monster known as Dave Gettleman did to the New York Giants, and a little bit of Jerry Reese, because Jerry Reese wasn't great in the end, but the vast majority of our problems are Dave Gettleman issues. That's what we heard, though. We heard that it was a rebuild. We're assessing what we have, seeing how we can build a contender down the line. Well, I'm watching currently. Right now, I have the Cowboy Eagle game playing right now, because I want to see how this all shakes out. And the reason I want to see how this all shakes out is because the Giants are in a playoff hunt. The Giants are in a division race. Now, look, is it too early to be talking about winning the division or making a playoff push? Yeah, of course. It's week 6. We're just finished up week 6. They got plenty of time to keep going. There's plenty more football to be played. I'm not getting ahead of myself thinking, they're going to go take the division. But, I mean, they're going to be presumably, if this game shakes out, and again, this will be done and uploaded before this game's, or not uploaded necessarily, but done recording before this game ends. It's either going to wind up with the Giants in, I believe, second place, or in a 3-way tie for first. And look, man, I'm sorry. Going into the year, this is the greatest. I like this today's win against the Baltimore Ravens might be the most excited I've been after a Giant game, and from the looks of Twitter, it's been the most excited all of us Giant fans have been in years. Like, I even remember the year that unless I'm wrong, and if I'm wrong, please hop in the comments and let me know how you feel. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like the team that went to the wild card game, I'm pretty sure it was 2016. Or am I just mixing that up with the Mets? Well, the year that they went to the boat year, the boat trip year, the thing that everybody believes cursed the team and is how we got to this mess. even that year, I wasn't like it was a very, I feel like, a very tense year. It wasn't a guarantee that the Giants were making the wild card round, but this is like, I don't know. It's probably because we've spent the better part of like 7 years being the worst team in the NFL, and ever since the last Super Bowl run, we really haven't had a whole lot to be excited about. Like, sure, that season where they made the wild card with McAdoo, and everybody forgot their hands on that boat trip, and Eli was the only one that showed up. Outside of that experience, the Giants haven't made the playoffs in forever. They haven't even really been all that competitive in forever. That's, let me see. Well, I forgot the Giants records last 5 years. We'll go last 5 years. Giants history. So they were 11-5 in 2016. That's the wild card year. They went 0-1. They obviously lost to Green Bay. Since then, it's been 3-13, 5-11, 4-12, 6-10, and in 2020, and then 4-13 last year. Garbage, absolutely garbage. Now, be fair, 6 is the high number back in 2020. So the most they've won since 2016 is like 6 games. They're already at 5. We're in week 6. Could this theoretically take a dark turn? Yeah, of course it could. Wheels could fall off. We've seen that before. But you just don't feel like that's going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, you just feel like, outside of some, illegal formation penalty, like illegal formation penalties, and maybe a couple of false starts, but like there were a couple of procedural penalties that you don't like to see. Other than that, you feel like the team is well coached. Like, let's be real. This is basically the same team that they've had all of the Joe Judge era, the 6-10 and 4-12 New York Giants. This is basically that same roster, maybe with a couple of additions that Daboll and Shane knew from their time in Buffalo or other places. Like, maybe there've been a couple of additions, but for the most part, it's the same team. Okay, it's the same team minus James Bradberry, who is currently killing it for the Eagles right now. So if anything, you could argue it should be a worse defense, but it's not. This defense has been able to stop the number 1 seed in the AFC last year. And now, look, I know it's a little flawed because the Titans aren't the same. Ryan Tannehill's kind of coming, back down to earth, and A.J. Brown's not there, and that's really hurting them. So I understand that it's not the same Tennessee Titans that were the number 1 seed, but still, we're a number 1 seed in the AFC last year. Last week beat the former MVP last year, Aaron Rodgers. And then this week, today, the day I'm recording this, Sunday, they beat a former MVP in Lamar Jackson. A guy that is supposedly at a Ravens team that's supposedly a Super Bowl contender. The New York Giants beat them. A team that, like I said, going into the year, the vast majority of people would have said, yeah, they'll probably be picking top 5, top 10 in the draft. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And now, it just makes me just laugh because of that tweet that I showed in my last video of that analyst on Get Up on ESPN saying how it's better for the Giants to lose. How yeah, cool, a playoff, that the Giants have aspirations beyond this year, and how it might be fun for the fans and fun for ESPN and their analysts for the Giants to be competitive and win games. It would be better off for them to lose. Why? Like, I don't know how you could look at a win like this one specifically and not say that winning is better for the team. Like, I'm going to try to find the tweet. I think I may have liked it. Did I like it? I'm pretty sure I did. Whereas I was liking just all my Giants tweets. It was of Thibodeau in the locker room. But you just heard, you hear that this is a very likable team, and that that Daboll's got them all bought in. And now let's see if I can find him. I don't know if I liked it. I think I just might have retweeted it. It's going to take me forever to find it. Let's see. Tweets and replies. Nope. Not there. All right. Well, I mean, I'm sure that if you're a Giants fan, you've seen it, and maybe I'll like actually look for it in a couple of minutes, but it'll probably take me forever. But you hear it in the interviews, you see it in the you see it on the field, and then you see it in like a lot of the post game press conferences or like in the locker room interviews. That it just looks like a team that believes in each other, actually believes in the coaching staff, and is just like they look like they're having fun. You know what I mean? Like the Joe Judge and the Pat Shurmur teams were just so bleak and beaten down, and you just knew, like you just knew that it was just a toxic atmosphere. They were never exciting. They were never fun to watch. I'm pretty sure there was a clip of Thibodeau after he gets the strip sack on Lamar Jackson, basically to ice the game, doing the salsa like Victor Cruz did. And it's just, I guess it's probably also the underdog mentality. You know what I mean? It's a team that nobody really expected to be anything. Like I said, I'm not going to just describe that again, but they literally expected zero from the New York Giants. They expected to be picking a quarterback in the first round of the draft next year. And now, Daniel Jones is out here going 19 for 27, 173 yards. It's not that crazy when I think Lamar Jackson threw for 210. 2 touchdowns and no interceptions. We thought he did. You thought he did in the back of the end zone. Or not really the back of the end zone, like the middle of the end zone. But turns out Darius Slayton drew a pass interference call, and I'm pretty sure that's what led to the Saquon Barkley touchdown, actually, to take the lead. But Daniel Jones has been showing you this season, or at least, this season, that he is a guy that you could win with, or is at least trying to prove that point, is showing that he's got the tools to like get it done. I mean, I guess the issue is, sure, is he putting up the crazy numbers that a lot of these quarterbacks are? No, he's not yet. But he's doing what he has to do to win games. He's able to extend drives when he needs to. He's been pretty accurate with the football. I mean, like for the most part, I would have to say, sure, there were a couple of questionable throws that Daniel Jones has had throughout most of this season, but I would attribute a lot of his, I would attribute most of his faults to like drop passes, non-completed stuff. Like, sure, he'll have a couple of bad throws, he'll have a couple of errant throws. I'm not gonna be naive to that. Does he take a couple of bad sacks? Yes, but I think he's been victimized by the fact that there has been a lot of drops. There have been a lot of big drops. And that and I think it's also unfair to necessarily judge Daniel Jones because look, Darius Slayton I think is good. Richie James has been a good player to fit in. Wan'Dale Robinson today getting his first touchdown he looks pretty good. But they don't have the number one wide receiver. They don't have Stephon Diggs, AJ Brown. They don't have oh my God, what's his name? Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. They don't have one of those. And it's not to knock the receivers that they do have because clearly they're getting the job done. The New York Giants are 5-1. But they don't but they don't have that guy that's like a matchup nightmare. They got guys that can get open, evidently. Like Daniel Bellinger's been a beast. Like I said, Slayton's been taking advantage of some opportunities. That first touchdown to Wan'Dale, that was beautiful. Perfectly executed play. It was awesome to see him get his first touchdown. You know what I mean? But they don't have that like impact wide receiver. And they need that, and I think one of the reporters was tweeting that maybe the Giants will go reach out to Carolina, who's going to start shipping off players to go try and get DJ Moore, which I guess wouldn't necessarily be all bad. DJ Moore's a really good wide receiver. And then maybe, later on in the season, do you entertain the Odell talk? I know I know everybody's saying no, it's not going to happen. Odell's not coming back to the Giants, but does that narrative change if you find yourself continuously being in a playoff spot? You know what I mean? Because I like honestly, even with this 5-1 start, you're going to hear um you're gonna hear people talking about the wheels falling off. Like there's gonna be people that push back because sure, we're all excited. I'm pumped. Like I can't wait to get to next week for them to play Jacksonville. Absolutely. With the way they're playing right now, absolutely. I can't wait for them to go play Jacksonville. Like you actually walk in and that being like, okay, I believe they're gonna take that one. This was one of the ones on the show The Grindhouse Radio that I had just previously mentioned. I I do a sports segment. It's called Tom's Takes, and I think I before the season started, I mapped out the Giants' road to 7 wins. And one of the ones that I had circled was Jacksonville because I absolutely didn't believe in Jacksonville. You know what I mean? They looked like trash last year, but we obviously attribute a lot of that to Urban Meyer being terrible. Um, and Doug Peterson was a solid coach, so you'd probably figure that they would be a little solid. He did win a Super Bowl with the Eagles, but you did think that they were going to be a little bit improved. But I had that one circled as one of the ones on the list on the like I said the Giants' road to 7 wins, and now I'm even more confident that that's the case. They just beat in back-to-back weeks the Green Bay Packers, who sure they didn't look great against the Jets either. The Jets beat them like 24-10, if I'm correct, somewhere around there. Let me take a look at that. So they're obviously 27-10. Okay, so sorry, I shorted them 27-10. So yeah, the Packers are they're looking a little rough right now, but it's still the Packers. It's still Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. They're still a good team. I think their head coach came out and said that Rodgers has been dealing a little bit with an injury, and it has been affecting him. So, he's either really hurt or they're coming up with excuses already. And I'm imagining it might be a little bit of both because they don't want to admit that they lost to the Jets now. They can't. That can't really be it. They don't want to admit that they lost to the Jets and Giants in back-to-back weeks. So they're going to attribute it to be like, oh no, Rodgers was just hurt. That's it. He's just been hurt. Don't worry about it. He's fine. That the Jets got lucky. That's basically the Jets and Giants both got lucky. Yeah. But like I said, the Giants beat the Packers and the Baltimore Ravens. They're now 3-3 Baltimore Ravens. So you gotta be you gotta be confident going into Jacksonville. But it's I don't know, man. I'm almost like I did just go on like a 15 to set 20-minute diatribe about this, but I am like I'm almost speechless. Like I can't even believe this. I can't even I was so like my pessimistic Met fan kicked in, and I was like, oh man, this is gonna suck if the Mets don't pull this off. This is what I was saying earlier in the season. If the Mets don't pull this off and win the World Series, I'm just gonna be depressed all the winter because the Mets would have blown it, which they did. Talked about it a week ago, 2 weeks ago. And then I just assumed that the Giants would be bad and the Islanders would be bad because I remember the Islanders season last year. I was like, this is just gonna be a depressing winter. Well, we're in fall, and that hasn't happened yet. We're 5-1. And another encouraging thing that I got out of this game was now the Giants kind of almost had to become one-dimensional in this game because Saquon Barkley, I think, got held to 20. I wrote it down, 22 carries for like 83 yards. Thank you, CBS Sports. Saquon got held to just that, and then he's been basically the focal point of this entire offense since the season started. That was the narrative. The headlines was just that we saw old Saquon. We're seeing the Saquon from his rookie year, and they're right. He's been amazing. He went from it went from a unanimous like this dude cannot come back next year. That was the consensus was that this is it. They'll ride it out. They'll see if they can maybe trade him and get some assets, or they'll just let him walk in the offseason, or maybe sign him if he'll come back at a cheaper price tag. Because, where they had that one rookie year and then it was just injuries and he never really measured up to that same player. But now he is, and then some. So now that's flipped from he's not going to be with this team going forward to do you got to keep Saquon because look at the team around Daniel Jones. Like I mentioned the receivers before. Daniel Bellinger's a rookie. They don't have another tight end. So like the only weapon this team has is Saquon Barkley. So do you keep him? At 5-1 in the hunt for a playoff spot, I feel like you have to. I feel like you have to. It's weird because again, you expected this season to be an assessment of what they have so they can move towards the future, and instead, you have you in fact you do have coaches in front office that's looking to see what the team has, looking to see exactly how much talent is on the team, but now you might try to add to it because you're in the midst of a playoff run, which is crazy. Very, very crazy. But yeah, but actually, back to what I was initially saying. The Giants did have to. I just went off on a complete tangent. Like I said, I'm super excited. The Giants won this game and they had to go kind of super one-dimensional. Saquon Barkley, like I said, 22 carries, 83 yards. So they were throwing. They basically had to. Daniel Jones had to win it on his arm, and he kind of sort of did. Like I said, the game wasn't like super pretty in the beginning. It did look a little ugly. There were some gross penalties. There were some drops. The offense kind of stalled a little bit because they couldn't actually run the football. And usually when that happens, that's when the blowout happens. You know what I mean? Like Giants can't run the ball. They become one-dimensional. Daniel Jones throws a couple of crappy picks or gets absolutely destroyed because his offensive line can't block for him. There's a couple of fumbles, and, normally they would run away with it. The Ravens would just run away with it. The Giants would get steamrolled. The stadium would be empty by the time the game's over, and we're all going into Monday, going into the workday, absolutely upset. And Devontae Smith just scored a touchdown for the Eagles, and I believe he's sitting on my bench, so that sucks. But that's what usually would happen, and it didn't. I think I think it was John Mara that said in an article on CBS that they lose those games so much. They lose the game against the Ravens so many times. It's really nice to come out with a win. You damn right it is. You are absolutely freaking right it is. And that's what makes this. That's what makes that. It just. There's so many wrinkles to this season depending on how we continue through it. I'm not like I'm not. Again, it's 5-1. I'm not getting excited like playoffs. Let's go contend for a Super Bowl. We're going to be in the NFC title game. I'm not. I'm appreciating the fact that the team is 5-1. Haven't seen this since like 2008. Haven't seen this in forever. No, hold on. Let me see. Might be 2016. It might have been 2016 where they might have started 5-0. So I'm little wrong, but it's been a while. I mean, it's been a while since the Giants were playing meaningful football games this far into the season. You know what I mean? Like it's usually October and we're already talking about mock drafts. Where are we going to be picking? Who are we going to be taking? That's usually what's happening. I mean, like I still have a group chat, family group chat where where my brothers or my cousins will send like tweets of, the Giants scouting different quarterbacks in college. And now, is that where they're going to go? Are they going to use their assets to trade up to take a quarterback when you have Daniel Jones actually being effective, actually being accurate with the football, not turning it over or not turn? I think he's got at least one or two interceptions this year, but not turning it over nearly at the same rate that he did last season or the season before. He's being smart with the football, accurate with the football, all with a damaged hand. Dude was bleeding for the past 2 weeks. You saw the the bandage in the post-game presser. Just took up his whole forearm, from his hand to his forearm. It looked like he got the top of his hand tattooed and down his forearm. So do Do they use that? Do they use their first round pick, depending on where they wind up in the draft, to draft a young quarterback, or do they ride it out with Daniel Jones and use that pick to address something else on the team that's desperately needed? Because they do need help. Like, it's not like this isn't a I'm not proclaiming that this is a perfect team that's bound to make a deep playoff run. No, that's why I'm appreciating this, because I wasn't supposed to get this. And if this is the rebuild that we keep hearing from Shane and Dayball, then if this is where we're starting, where are they going to improve from here? What are they going to add? Are we going to get maybe a little more secure at linebacker? Are you going to try to address the cornerback situation? Because yeah, I think there's guys playing out of their minds, but you don't have anybody super scary at corner, to shut down big number one wide receivers. Again, they're 5-1. They're doing their job, but you know, uh, Tennessee doesn't have AJ Brown anymore. The Packers don't have Devontae Adams anymore. I don't even know if Rashad Bateman played in this game, but what have we been hearing forever, that the Ravens don't have the typical number one wide receiver, and even then, the Giants, the Ravens' number one wide receiver was Mark Andrews, and he was torched. Their tight ends were torching him all night or all day. All day they played at one. So there are still holes on the team. Again, if they add to the team, I'd imagine that we're going to see them add like a receiver or something, a weapon for Daniel Jones to throw to. But there's no wide receivers for him. Well, there is, but there's no, like I said, game-breaking wide receiver for him. So, of course, there's holes. There's things that they need to improve on. There's things that they need to add. But right now, this is their base. If this is the team that is the basis that they're going to build off of, I don't know how you can't be excited. How like you'd appreciate like a wild card berth. Like maybe you win the wild card game if like it's been house money all year. You know what I mean? Like you can build from that. It's awesome, man. It's really nice. It's really nice to be a Giant fan. It's really nice that we finally have what looks to be a good coaching staff. Not even what is a good coaching staff. Hopefully, a really good front office. I mean, it's looked pretty awesome. The draft so far from Shane and Dayball has looked amazing. Uh, it's great. It's great to finally feel like the Giants are moving forward, and how any Sunday now any Sunday you can officially believe the Giants are going to beat anybody. I was willing to give people the Titans because it was week one, and usually, week one's the like a preseason game because people are still trying to figure their teams out. So I think the Tennessee game was a big win for them, but I'll give you that one. Carolina stinks, so I'll give you that one. Totally fine. But they beat the Packers and they beat the Ravens. Those ones you can't take from them, and I think they deserve 3 solid wins. Yeah, hold on one second. Giants schedule. Yeah, so they did lose to Dallas, but again, it was 23-16. They were still very much in that game, right, way down to the end. It was week 3. See, I mean, no, it was week 3. Leonard Williams had just gone out too. Leonard Williams had just gone out, and I'm a firm believer that if Leonard Williams is still in that game against the Cowboys, Zeke and Pollard do not have as good a game as they did, and they might be able to squeak that one out. To be fair, the Cowboy defense was running all over them, and they were being the Cowboy defense. But the layups I'll give you: Carolina and Chicago. Those are the layups that I'm going to give you. I think Tennessee, because they were a number one seed in the AFC last year, you got to give the Giants respect for that win, because you definitely didn't. Most people going into that game thought Tennessee was going to wipe the floor with them. Green Bay, big win. I know Rodgers is claiming that he's hurt, but they're still a well-respected team in the NFC and a playoff team, and Aaron Rodgers was an MVP last year. Baltimore, Super Bowl favorite, or people predicted them to go, to make a deep playoff run this year. Have been in the playoffs forever. Lamar Jackson's a former MVP, a really good football team. So the Giants beat 3 good football teams and had a couple of layups. And I very much think that they could take care of business against Dallas when they see them later on in the season. Because look, this is, like I said, this is virtually the same team we saw with Joe Judge last year. Basically the same. And they have to learn a the defensive players got to learn a whole new defense, new verbiage from Wink Martindale. The offense has to learn a whole new playbook. Daniel Jones has got to learn another new playbook. So the more the team plays together, the more the team gels together theoretically, the better the team is going to play together. So the Giants team that we saw play the Cowboys in Week 3 on Monday night might not necessarily be the same Giants team we see them play later in the season. Could get better, could get worse, could get better though. I am worried about the Eagles because the Eagles are kind of taking care of business right now against the Cowboys, I believe. Let me take a look at the score, give you a quick update. They're actually in a commercial break while I'm watching this, but the Eagles do still look really good. The defense looks really good. Darius Slay and James Bradbury sound like a nightmare because especially when you don't have that game-breaking wide receiver. You know what I mean? Like Darius Slay and James Bradbury sound terrible when your 2 wide receivers are Richie James and Darius Slayton and David Sills. Again, not taking anything away from them. I think Darius Slayton's awesome. Richie James has been just what Daniel Jones has needed, just somebody that you can just get open. I get it. Sills has been okay. I get it. But none of them are on the same level as Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, A.J. Brown, and Stephon Diggs. They're not on that level. Doesn't mean they're not good, but they're not on that level. So and the Giants desperately need that. So we'll see. Maybe the trade deadline. I know there was a couple of people saying, "Oh, the Giants should trade Saquon Barkley, sell high, trade Saquon Barkley to the Bills for some picks and like cash in on that." I don't know. I think you got to do what you can to add to this team, make the team around Daniel Jones better, and see really see what you got. Because if Jalen Hurts, especially Jalen Hurts of the Eagles, are showing you anything, like it's taken Jalen Hurts time to get here. He wasn't exactly where he is right now is when he took over for Carson Wentz. You know what I mean? It took some time in the offense to get, like, not everybody's going to just hit the ground running and be Pat Mahomes. Even Josh Allen, it took like a year or 2. They needed to get Stephon Diggs there. Again, I'm not trying to put Daniel Jones in the same conversation as Pat Mahomes or Josh Allen. But what I am saying is I don't necessarily think Daniel Jones had a fair shake. Sure, he's had his problems. He's been a one-read quarterback. He's turned the ball over a lot. But also, he hasn't had an effective weapon on offense because Saquon has spent most of the time on the injured list rather than on the field. Not a knock on him. Injuries happen. I'm just stating a fact. And he hasn't had a true number 1 wide receiver to throw to. And oh, by the way, he's getting his brains beat in night after night after night after night. Day after day, night after night. Like, didn't matter. 1 o'clock game, night game, 4 o'clock game. It's mostly during the day. I don't know why I said night. But you get the picture. Now, Daniel Jones has a little bit more time. The offensive line looks pretty good. Andrew Thomas looks like the best left tackle in the league. Evan Neal looks like he's starting to pick it up. Feliciano hasn't been an absolute bum. Like, the offensive bit, sure, that Daniel Jones has been taking some sacks, but for the most part, he's had time now. He's had time to go through some reads. He's had time to accurately get balls to receivers, and he's been doing that for most of the season. Really, in the past 2 weeks, but most of the season. Like, Daniel Jones hasn't, like, there have been, I think he's got, going into today, he had 3 game-winning drives. And he had 3 game-winning drives. Now he's got 4 because of this game. So Like, I remember when he first got to the league, everyone's like, wow, you know what? Maybe we were wrong. Maybe it wasn't a reach taking him where they took him, or maybe he actually is. Maybe he does actually have talent. And then after that first year, it kind of fell off, and like, dude spends a lot of time in the IL. Dude throws a lot of picks. He fumbles a lot, takes a bad sacks, doesn't make the right reads. Well, maybe it's because the coaches sucked. Maybe it's because the offensive scheme that they were running would run draw plays, quarterback draw plays on like the what 4 yard line. Is that what Joe Judge did last year? Maybe they were just terrible coaches and ruining Daniel Jones. And if you got somebody that was competent enough to put a football team together in a right offensive and an offensive scheme that best benefits the quarterback, maybe he figures it out. Maybe he has the opportunity to actually progress as a quarterback, progress as a passer, progress as a runner, and just be a better player. Maybe good coaching matters. Like I know that like coaching gets more of I feel like coaching gets more of a highlight in college because the coaches are the superstars. You know what I mean? There's so many players. Like the coaches are really like the superstars of the programs because it's the like it's the Nick Sabans, the Dabo from Clemson, like they're the big personalities. And I know that in the NFL, it's the quarterback. The quarterback gets all the shine. It's a lot more on the players, but the coaches matter, and the Giants are proof of that. Because again, for like the 5,000th time I've said in this little episode, because again, I'm probably not going to go very long. I just needed a Giants reaction because I'm so freaking excited. I'd still, if I wasn't probably going to bed after this, I would still be wearing all my Giants gear. I still got my hat though. Where was I even going? I totally just lost my train of thought. I'm just so freaking excited. Wow. The New York Giants are 5-1. The Eagle Cowboy game is winding down, and I'm assuming unless something crazy changes, I bet you Philly pulls this one out. But if I'm wrong, feel free to hop in the comments and be like, "Oh, wow, you're wrong. Look, the Cowboys held on, or the Cowboys came back." Yeah, it doesn't really matter. There'll be a worst case scenario. Giants wind up in second, leg up on the Cowboys. That'd be great. And we're on to the Jaguars next week. Boom. It's been interesting. Like it's been interesting doing like one man shows because I never done them before really, other than these past couple. And I will put some more stuff together. I really didn't have much of a plan other than just to rant and rave about the fact that I love that the Giants are giving me something to watch and something fun to watch on Sundays because there's just nothing better. Not much is better than a Giants win on a Sunday going into a work week because it basically, if you're a lunatic sports fan like myself, you just like a sports win can drastically either change your day or your week. And in this case, since the Giants play once a week, it would drastically change my week. And I burp into the microphone very unprofessionally. Like the Giants lose and it's just depressing. Like, oh, Jesus Christ. I got to wait till next Sunday to see them either break my heart and lose again or actually pull a win out. And now, instead of just expecting them to lose, I'm now kind of sort of expecting them to win. And isn't that just an amazing feeling? And think about how crazy this is. The NFC East is probably one of the most competitive divisions in football. You know what I mean? Like, if the Cowboys can come out and win this game, can come back and win this game, which is totally feasible. As I'm watching it, there's 2 minutes left. It's 26-17. Cooper Rush just got hit, so this is not looking great for them. But if the Cowboys did win, it would have been a three-way tie for the NFC East. All teams 5-1. If Philly wins, the last undefeated team 6-0. That kind of sucks, but it's still you'd have the Eagles, Giants, Cowboys, all very close in the standings, all with winning records. What a world. We were calling it the NFC least for years. Like it had a different winner every year. The Cowboys look good and the Eagles would be hit or miss, but like they were never really like the can't miss team. You know what I mean? There was always flaws. Dak would come up small and the Eagles would just, piddle out towards the end. Now it's one of the most competitive divisions in football, and I feel like when I was a kid, that's what it was. The NFC East was one of the most competitive divisions in football. God, man. What a great freaking day. What a great freaking day. The New York Giants are 5-1 in a playoff hunt. And I don't know what else to say. I think I wonder how much, because this, like I said, there's still going to be people that don't believe in Daniel Jones. There's still going to be people that are expecting him to be gone next year and, them going to find a better quarterback. I wonder how many games it's going to take for more people to be like, you know what, maybe Daniel Jones is the answer. Maybe if we're picking later, maybe, we have a solid winning record. Maybe, say you make the wild card. They're picking further back in the draft, more towards the middle, maybe more towards the end. Do you trade up and go get a quarterback? Do you do that? Or do you ride it out with Daniel Jones and take what comes to you? Because you franchise tag him, maybe get him on a better, more cost-effective deal because, it would be one phenomenal season compared with another bunch of mediocre ones thrown in there. So could you get him at a cheaper price? Maybe. I'm starting to warm up to the idea. Damn sure. Because I feel like he's shown that you can win with him. If you put it, you put the right offensive scheme around him, which it looks like they have, he'll win. Now just go get him an actual, maybe bona fide stud number one wide receiver. Go get that. And I think they're pretty good. I don't know. I guess the trade deadline as of right now is going to look a lot different than what a lot of people thought it would have. And I am freaking here for it. Maybe next week I'll do another reaction to the Giants game, depending on if they win or lose. I should probably do losses. I probably shouldn't just leave out. I probably shouldn't just be fickle and leave out losses. I should probably just talk about losses. You got to do it. But we're not doing that today. We're talking about the fact that the Giants beat the Baltimore Ravens 24-20 to get to 5-1, and that's all I got. The Giants only had 83 rushing yards, 238 total yards. So I feel like if you read that in the beginning, you would think that they lost this game, obviously, but no, 24-20. I think that's all the time I got. I'm running on fumes. I had a long weekend out on at a little vacation with the girlfriend and her family, and it was a great time. Woodlock Pines, go check that out. No, not a sponsor, by the way. It was just a really good time. But if you're watching, thank you so much for watching. This was very impromptu. I was totally not prepared. I wrote down a couple of lines in a notebook about how I was feeling about the Giant game. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to turn on my microphone, turn on the camera, and I'm just going to ramble and rant for, what looks to be 42 minutes. So I hope you had a good time. Thank you for being here again. If you could, please hit me with a follow, hit me with a subscribe, hit the little bell so you know when I post a new video. Hop in the comments. Let me know what you think, what you'd like differently, what you did like that I did. What you didn't like. You can say really whatever. I don't delete comments unless it's like overtly aggressive. I won't delete your comment, but I don't really necessarily think I have to worry about that. Thank you guys for being here. I very much all appreciate you, and have a great rest of your day. I will see you when the next video drops.